There was a time when you would explain yourself to everyone. When someone misunderstood you, you would spend hours, sometimes days, trying to clear up the confusion. You wanted peace. You wanted understanding. You wanted everyone to know that your heart was pure. But life has a funny way of teaching you that peace doesn't come from being understood. It comes from no longer needing to be. See, there are people who thrived on your reaction. They wanted you loud, emotional, defensive, and drained. They wanted to pull you out of your divine character just so they could say, "See, I told you they're not who they claim to be." But now your silence has become your greatest weapon. You've learned that not every battle deserves your voice. Some only deserve your absence. And the moment you went quiet, they started to spiral. They can't handle it because your silence says everything their ego can't handle hearing. It says, "You no longer have access to my energy." It says, "You no longer control my emotional state." It says, "I don't owe you my peace to prove my innocence." And deep down they feel it. They scroll through your page. They replay old conversations in their mind. They ask mutual friends what you're doing, pretending they don't care. But they do. Because your silence is a mirror, and it's showing them everything they tried to hide from themselves. Your silence exposes their guilt. Your calmness reveals their chaos. Your peace highlights their instability. There's something about divine detachment that terrifies people who once fed off your light. They can no longer measure their worth by your reactions. They can no longer validate themselves through your forgiveness. And for the first time, they're left to face the one person they've been running from all along, themselves. That's why they spiral. Because your energy was the gravity holding their world together. Now that you've pulled it back, their fake confidence, their ego, their illusions, they all collapse. They used to think you were weak for being so forgiving. They thought your love was desperation. They thought your kindness was naivety. But what they never realized was that your love was a reflection of your divinity. You weren't being weak. You were being sent to show them what real love looked like. And instead of honoring it, they tried to manipulate it. But energy never lies. And now they're haunted by the same energy they once mishandled. See, chosen ones, when you stop engaging, your silence becomes spiritual warfare. It breaks illusions. It shatters projections. It reveals truths without you ever having to speak. You are walking proof that divine beings don't argue with darkness, they outshine it. So while they're talking about you, trying to convince people you've changed, you're over there glowing in silence, evolving, leveling up, moving in purpose. They can't understand how someone they tried to destroy is still prospering. They can't grasp how your absence made you more powerful than your presence ever did. Because your silence is loud in the spirit. It echoes through the energy field of everyone who ever underestimated you. And it says, "I've outgrown this version of the story. Let me tell you something. When God removes your voice from certain environments, it's not punishment, it's protection. Because if you stayed, your words would have fallen on deaf ears. If you explained, they still wouldn't have understood. And if you defended yourself, they would have twisted it anyway. So instead, God said, let me handle it. And the way God vindicates his chosen ones is never loud. He lets the silence do the talking. While you rest, he rearranges the entire atmosphere. While you heal, he exposes hearts. While you remain silent, he amplifies your favor. That's why doors are opening for you right now that used to be locked. That's why opportunities are appearing from directions you didn't even look. Because your silence didn't mean surrender, it meant trust. Every storm they sent your way only purified your spirit. Every rumor they whispered only expanded your reach. Every time they tried to embarrass you, heaven took notes. And now those same voices are trembling because they see you thriving without them. They thought silence meant you had nothing left to say. But it actually meant, I've said enough, now watch what God says next. And God is saying, touch not my anointed. You thought you broke them, but you built their strength. You thought their silence meant defeat, but it was the sound of elevation. Because when you remove your energy from chaos, it forces people to confront the noise within themselves. They can't project anymore, so they implode. They can't gaslight anymore, so they crumble. They can't manipulate anymore, so they spiral. You've become the mirror that never lies. And every time they think about you, that reflection burns. Because they remember how your presence felt like peace. They remember how your energy felt like home. And now, in your absence, they realize they can't replace what was divinely given. Your silence is teaching them what your words never could. That access to your energy was a privilege, not a right. That your love was sacred, not disposable. That your presence was a blessing, not a convenience. So stop questioning yourself. Stop wondering if you did the right thing by walking away quietly. Because the silence that feels so uncomfortable right now is the very sound of your transformation. You're not missing out, you're moving on. You're not being cold, you're being called. You're not ignoring them, you're protecting your peace. If this message is resonating with your spirit right now, comment below. This resonates with me. Because deep down, you know, you've been feeling this shift. You've been watching how people move differently since you stopped explaining yourself. And you've been noticing how the silence that once felt heavy now feels like freedom. That's not loneliness, that's alignment. That's not rejection, that's redirection. That's not punishment, that's promotion. The people who once drained your energy are now replaying every interaction in their minds, wondering how they lost access. Meanwhile, you're out here attracting blessings, favor, and peace that's worth more than any apology you'll never receive. Silence is the language of divine authority. It's how the universe rebalances power. Because those who truly operate in divine energy don't chase validation. They radiate it. You are radiating differently now. You've leveled up in ways even you haven't fully seen yet. Your energy field is recalibrating to abundance, clarity, and purpose. And that's why you can't be around certain energies anymore. That's why people who once made you question your worth can no longer reach you energetically. The higher your frequency rises, the quieter your world becomes. Not because you're isolated, but because peace doesn't need an audience. So keep shining in silence. Let your peace do the talking. Let your glow be the response. Let your success be the closure. And when they spiral, let them. Because what's falling apart for them is what was never built on truth. But what's being built for you now is eternal. You've stepped into a chapter where you no longer explain, chase, or beg. You just attract, align, and ascend. Your silence is not the absence of power, it is the manifestation of it. And the ones who tried to play with your energy are finally realizing that losing your voice in their world meant losing their stability. Keep moving in quiet confidence. Your silence is speaking volumes, and the universe is echoing every word. If this message touched your spirit, comment, "This resonates with me." Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to stay connected with this energy. And if you'd like to support the growth of Infinite Soul Reflections, you can contribute using the Buy Me a Coffee link in the channel description. Because every bit of support helps this message reach more souls who need to remember their power. Your silence is sacred, protect it. Because even without saying a word, you're still being heard by the entire universe.